Today, we've got a real life thriller that has been unfolding. And guess what? Yoda saved the day with the help of a brave team of men and women. Hi, I'm Ash, your guide through the dark alleys of true crime and the corridors of intriguing history, all while we whip up a delicious feast for both the mind and the mouth. I wasn't planning on making a video about Danelo because his story has been everywhere. I'm pretty sure if you clicked on this video, you already know that he crab walked his way out of a Pennsylvania prison and that he's been recaptured. But then I got curious. I know the police were telling the residents of the area to share sleeping spaces if they could, keep the buddy system up so they would never be alone. Chester County residents had been advised by officials to stay alert, to keep their doors and windows locked. Several area schools even canceled classes as the search for Cavalcante intensified. And then there was what the police said. They kept saying he was extremely dangerous. But for my definition, if someone's been convicted of murder, if they're a murderer, the dangerous part is a pretty safe assumption. So I wondered, what exactly had he done? And with my research, I discovered he is a horrible mamba jamba. Now, let me set the stage for you. Cavalcante is a 34-year-old Brazilian national who had a heck of a rap sheet. The guy escaped from the Pennsylvania prison yard August 31st, just 1 week after being sentenced to life in the slammer for the violent murder of his ex-girlfriend, Deborah Brandow. And his story doesn't stop or start even there. So before he ended up in the U.S., Cavalcante allegedly shot and killed the student Walter Jr. Moreira dos Reis in Brazil on November 5th, 2017. The motive? It was a dispute over some supposed vehicle repair debt. He shot the guy 6 times, snatched his phone, and hightailed it out of there. The investigations indicated that they were friends up until the time of the murder. Friends like that, who needs enemies? 1 week after the crime, the Brazilian justice system accepted a request for preventative detention made by the public prosecutor's office, and they issued a warrant for his arrest. The public defender on the case, though, said he never even saw Cavalcante, and they never managed to establish contact. Cavalcante, in turn, became a fugitive. He left the country through the Brasilia International Airport because the justice system hadn't yet requested the registration of the decision in the National Warrant Registry. So that only occurred 7 months after the crime, which was in June of 2018. It was 6 months too late to catch him. Once he settled in Pennsylvania, he started dating Deborah Brandow, who was another Brazilian national. At first, everything seemed hunky-dory, but then a darker side emerged. Deborah first met Cavalcante because they were neighbors in Chester County. He was helpful to her and kind, and Deborah was smitten, according to Deborah's sister. They dated for about a year and a half, and Sarah said that Deborah thought he was nice to her, that he helped her with the children, he kept her company. She didn't feel so alone anymore. But then things changed. She kept saying he was extremely jealous, that when he drank, he became a different person, that he kept going through her cell phone. Cavalcante would threaten Deborah, telling her that he would do the worst if she ever cheated on him. So Deborah filed a protection order against Cavalcante finally in December 2020 after they'd broken up, citing a history of abuse. And by abuse, I mean biting her, chasing her with a knife, being an all-around creep whenever he got his drink on. But it got worse. So much worse. On the afternoon of April 18th, 2021, Deborah Brandow was in the front yard of her Schuylkill Township, Pennsylvania home when Cavalcante showed up. Her 2 children were there, her 7-year-old girl and her 3-year-old boy. They were also in the front yard with her. He told the family he was going to do something bad to their lives. And Cavalcante pulled out 2 knives from a bag. He threw 5'5" Deborah to the ground and he stabbed her 38 times. Investigators believe he did this after Deborah had found out that the Brazilian authorities were looking for him. for the murder he committed in 2017, and she threatened to spill the beans if he wouldn't leave her alone. He had recently hacked her Instagram account. He was just bothering her. She was 33 years old when she died. In an interview, Deborah's sister said that Deborah had brought her children to the U.S. for a better life, and that when Sarah learned about her sister's murder, that her world ended. Fortunately, after this crime, Danelo Cavalcante was quickly arrested, just hours later. And a Chester County jury on August 16, 2023, convicted him of first-degree murder. The jury just took 15 minutes of deliberation before voting unanimously to convict him. Justice was served, right? Well, not quite. So as we know, on August 31st, Danelo pulled off the daring prison escape that we all heard about and that cost a guard his job. He crawled up the two walls separated by a narrow hallway like some sort of human spider. To me, the most mind-boggling part about this is another inmate had used a similar method to escape from the same prison earlier that year. Coincidence? I think not. Though, in the prison's defense, it's not built to house murderers. He just hadn't yet been transferred to a maximum security prison. But wait, there's more. After he reached the roof from his crab walk, Cavalcante used a ladder to reach a less secure part of the prison. Authorities believed he'd been on the run, hiding in the woods. It took him over an hour to even realize he was gone. Now let's fast forward to the most recent update, my lovely viewers. Drum roll, please. Couldn't say that. Okay, on September 13th, 2023, after a grueling 14-day manhunt, Danelo Cavalcante was captured. There was a massive team involved. There were helicopters, a lightning storm, and he was finally tracked down using thermal imaging technology before tactical teams surrounded him and captured him at about 8 a.m. on Wednesday morning. He was found hiding either in or near a pile of logs behind a John Deere store in South Coventry Township, which is about 30 miles from the prison he escaped from. And who played a crucial role in his capture? None other than Yoda, a fearless law enforcement canine. Yoda is a 4-year-old Belgian Malinois who's on the Vortec tactical team that's stationed out of Detroit, Michigan. Yoda bit Cavalcante twice during the arrest, and no shots were fired. To clarify, Yoda is a bite and hold trained dog. What that means is there usually wouldn't be multiple bites. But the first place Yoda was able to reach Cavalcante was his head as he tried to crawl through the thick brush. He was armed with a stolen .22 caliber rifle, so Yoda wasn't able to get a good hold. So then Yoda found another extremity to grab, and that's why there are 2 bites. Our hero Yoda left the escaped killer with a gnarly scalp wound that bled into his face in some of the pictures. Once he was captured, there was a press conference, and Chester County District Attorney Deb Ryan said, "Today is a great day in Chester County. Our nightmare is finally over, and the good guys won." And Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro began the news conference by announcing Cavalcante's capture, praising the extraordinary work of law enforcement officials from both the local, state, and federal agencies.
Chester County government and the various other agencies working on the prisoner escape are proud to announce the subject is in custody. Repeating, subject is in custody.
And here's the icing on the cake, folks. Danelo was photographed in handcuffs, soaking wet, wearing a stolen Philadelphia Eagles sweatshirt, dark work boots, and pants that he'd swiped during his time on the run. Talk about a fashion statement. The story doesn't end there, though. On that same day, he was arraigned on felony escape charges and denied bail, and he's set to appear in court on September 27th. That's not all. He's going to be transferred to a state prison, a maximum security prison for the life sentence of that gruesome murder that he was convicted of.
Sylvia, Danelo Cavalcante has been terrorizing residents in Chester County, Pennsylvania for 14 days. That's over now. Shortly after the reported capture, we watched live, as you said, as Cavalcante, a convicted killer, was escorted, surrounded by law enforcement, looking a little beat up, a little tired. He was taken to a police vehicle where he was handcuffed. He will now be taken, we're told, to CSI Phoenix. That's a maximum security facility northwest of Philadelphia. Once again, he has been captured.
And Danelo Cavalcante's sister, according to the police, tried to help him evade capture. So she was here illegal anyways. She's going to be deported back to Brazil. So, my dear viewers, that's the tale of Danelo Cavalcante, a man with a dark and twisted past who managed to escape justice temporarily, but was ultimately captured by the relentless efforts of law enforcement and the fearless Yoda. Justice prevails, and the nightmare is finally over for Deborah Brandau's family and for the residents of Chester County. Okay, so this monster has been a terror while I've been trying to film this. So I'm going to go feed her. But remember, if you're craving more intriguing tales, be sure to join me next time for another dark and intriguing journey into the depths of humanity. And until then, stay curious, stay kind, and remember to take care of yourselves. I'll see you soon.